Alright, good morning. I just want to go over area and perimeter. We are leaving this unit, so I just wanted to go over kind of what we've done so that you can review it for yourself. First, area. This is how we find area. We want to find the area inside of an object. So what I shaded in blue is what you're going to be finding. How we find it is by multiplying. We're going to multiply the length or the long side of the shape by the width or the short side. Now this is for a rectangle. Obviously if you have a square you're just going to multiply two sides because they will be equal. But in a rectangle you're going to multiply the long side by the short side to get your area. Your area will always be given in square units. So units could be feet, inches, centimeters, meters, any of those forms of measurement. But it will be called square units, and you might also see it look like this. So let's say we're measuring in inches. They might give you inches squared. That little 2 means squared. So anytime you see a number and it says square units, you know that they've given you the area. Some real world things that would come up in a word problem if they ask you to find out how much carpet, how much paint to go on a wall, or how much water they may need to go into a pool. Again, all of those things would go on the inside or in the whole space, so you would want to find the area. Okay, moving on to perimeter. Perimeter, you're going to be finding the outside. The prefix peri actually means around, so this is a big key word. If they ask you to go around an object, you know that you need to add all sides. Okay, don't just add the numbers that they give you. Sometimes on a rectangle or a square, they're only going to give you 1 or 2 measurements. Be sure that you add up all 4 sides of that shape. Okay, real world. Fences, think about a fence in a yard. It's going to go around just the outside. An enclosure, this is just a fancy way of saying a fence. If you think about a farm, you might think of pigs and horses and they're in an enclosure. That means they're just in a closed area, usually closed off by a fence. So this is just a fancy word you should know, and it means to find the perimeter. They might also ask about a picture frame. Think about your picture frame. Just the outside wood part is the perimeter. Or maybe in a bedroom they ask you to find how much wallpaper you need for a border. Okay, so just going around the outside of the wall. Perimeter is always given to you in just units. So using this example of inches squared for area, for perimeter, they'll just give it to you in inches. And that's what IN is. It means inches. All right, take a moment if you need to copy any of this down. So here are a couple examples. I'm going to do a square with you and a rectangle. With a square, they're usually only going to give you 1 measurement, and that's because they expect you to remember that with a square, all sides are equal. So go ahead and you would put in the rest of your measurements being 6. So to find the area, I remember length times width. In this case, I'm just going to multiply 2 sides because they're all already equal. So 6 times 6 equals 36. And I'll just write units squared. Okay, you always give your answers in units squared for area. Don't just write 36 because nobody knows what that means. They don't know if you're giving an area or the perimeter. Okay? For the perimeter, remember I'm going to add all sides, all of them. So I have to add 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, okay? And I know that 6 plus 6 is 12. So 12 plus 12 is 24. Now I'm going to not just leave 24 because this is perimeter, so it's 24 units. Okay? Easy enough, right? Moving on to the rectangle. For a rectangle, they're going to probably only give you 2 measurements, expecting you to remember that opposite sides, those that are across from one another, their lengths are equal. So I know that this side will also be 7, and this will also be 5. Okay, remember opposite sides across from each other are equal. So again, the area, I want to find the long side and multiply it by the short side. The long side is 7 because it's larger times the short side or the smaller number, which is 5. and I know that that is 35. And because it's area, I need to tell the person that it's units squared. All right? Perimeter, again, I'm going to add up all sides. Now, if I hadn't written in 7 and 5, I might have made a careless mistake and just added 7 and 5, what they gave me. So always fill in the other side so that you don't forget to add up 7 plus 7 and 5 plus 5. There are 4 sides, so I must be adding 4 numbers. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 5 plus 5 is 10. 14 and 10 is 24 units. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Alright, now we're going to move into L-shaped shapes where we're going to have to partition or separate them into 2 separate squares or rectangles in order to find the area. To find the perimeter, nothing changes. I just have more sides to add. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides to add now. So nothing changes. I just have more to add than 4. The area is trickier because I'm going to have to separate this shape into 2 different squares and rectangles. Okay? So let's start first by finding the unknown sides, because as you see here, I only have 4 measurements and I have 6 sides. So to find the unknown sides, which would be this one here and this one up here, all I'm going to do is find 2 parallel lines to the line I'm looking for and subtract those numbers, okay? Remember that a parallel line are those that never intersect or touch. You can think about lines on your notebook paper. Those are parallel lines, okay? They kind of look like the lines on the street that you drive on, okay? They never intersect. They just keep going straight forever. Let's start with this top one. So if I want to find this one, this is the direction of the line I'm looking for. So I want to find 2 other lines in this shape that are also going horizontally or across. Okay, so I see this line and this line. And if you remember our comparison bars, 8 is our whole, 4 is our part, and we want to find the other part. So if I take 8 and subtract 4, I'm left with 4. Okay, so that's what this equals. The whole is 8, subtract the smaller 4 to get the rest of what I'm looking for. 8 minus 4 is 4. Alright, now if we want to find this side, notice now my line is going vertical or up and down. So I'm looking for 2 other lines going up and down or vertical. I have this 4 and this 10. And again, if you remember the comparison bars, we would do a whole of 10. Then we have this piece is 4. So what would this bar equal? Well, 10 minus 4 is 6. So I know that that side equals 6. Alright, let's start with the easy part, the perimeter. All I have to do is add this up. So if I start with 10, I'm going to add 10 plus 8 plus 4 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. Now my suggestion when you start adding up strings of numbers like this is to break it up. You know that 10 and 8, I'm going to erase this for space and just leave that P for perimeter. You know that 10 and 8 is 18, plus you know 4 and 4 is 8, plus 6 and 4 is 10. So now you're only having to add up 3 numbers, okay? And this is going to equal 36 units. Remember, because perimeter is given in units. Alright, let's partition this shape, and all partition means is to break it up. If I continue this line across, that is one way I can do this. You could also break it up this way. It is completely your choice. Alright, let's just leave it this way. Now, the tricky part is wherever you draw this line, notice I've now separated this long line of 8 in half. Okay, so I can no longer use this 8 because I don't want to find the total of this times anything. So my suggestion is to get rid of it so that it is not there to confuse you. Okay? So now this shape right here, this big, tall rectangle, I want to find its length or long side, which is 10. Okay, it is not 6 because remember 6 stops right here. And I want this whole long line. So I know this is going to be 10 times its short side, 4. 10 times 4 is 40. For this one, notice that my shorts, it's a square. 4 and 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. Now, all I have to do is add up this area plus this area, and I'm all finished. So 40 plus 16 equals 56 units squared. Okay? All right, I'm going to work through this one a little bit faster. Okay, I want to know this side, and I want to know this underneath side. Okay, so starting here, this is the direction I'm looking for, so I find 2 other lines also going in that direction. 20 minus 15 is 5. Going in this direction now, I see 12 and 6. 12 minus 6 is 6. Okay? Now I'm going to partition or separate it. I'm going to go this way this time. And again, the choice is yours. You just have to be careful of the lines or the numbers here that you're no longer going to be using. Okay? So for example, because I drew the line here, I intersected at this line, which means this number is no longer useful to me because I will not find a shape going in this direction. Okay? Just like here, when I intersected the line down here, at this point, I got rid of that 8 that was there, okay? So wherever you draw your partition line, wherever you intersect, that number or that length is no longer useful to you. Get rid of it. All right, to find the rectangle going in this direction here, I'm going to multiply 12 times 5. Now, we don't know this off the top of our head, do we? Okay, if it was a calculator active test, you would just use your calculator. But instead, I'm going to add 12 5 times. 2, 4, 6, 36 plus 2, 4, 24. 6 plus 4 is 10. 5, 6. So this is 60. Okay? Coming down here, I want to find the long side of 15 across to the 6. 15 times 6. Now again, calculator active, you just use your calculator. If you don't, you will just add up 15 6 times. That's all multiplication is repeated addition. Okay? 15 and 15 is 30 plus 15 is 45 and 45, which I know is 90. All right, so now the area would be 90 plus 60, which is 150 units squared. Okay, now I haven't found the perimeter yet, so let's go back. Let's start with our 5 plus 6 plus 15 plus 6 plus 20 plus 12. Remember that the perimeter, you're going to add up all the sides. So it doesn't matter if you didn't need this to find your area, you do need it to find your perimeter. All right, let's chunk it again. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus, we'll keep that big 15, plus 6 and 20 is 26, plus 12. And if you were to add all of this up, you would get 64 units. Okay? All right, that's all I have. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If it wasn't, you may need to just rewind, especially this portion, and just rewatch it. The key, find 2 parallel lines and subtract. Wherever you partition your shape by drawing a line, whatever you intersect at, that number is no longer useful to you to find the area. You do need it for the perimeter though. All right, good luck guys.